Hello, how are you today? I hope you are doing well. I want to talk to you about the annual notices of change for Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I'm only going to talk about three of them in particular: the Prime Value, the Essential, and the Meyer plan. All of these are going to have a lot of different changes on them. So I want to make sure that you are aware of the changes because you may or may not want to change your plan. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's get started. Give me 1 second. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. If you have any questions, you can throw them in the chat and I'll answer any questions that I can. So I am going to get to the meat of it so that we can go over the different changes. We're starting with the Prime Value plan. Okay, so here's going to be one of the biggest changes for you. You are used to having a $0 plan. Next year, your Prime Value plan is going to be $35. Now, if you live in all of these different regions, which you can see here on the left side, there's also a premium reduction. So for instance, if you live in Wayne County, you're going to take $11.50 off of that, or that $11.50 is going to be put back into your Social Security check. So instead of $35, you'll be paying $23.50, I want to say, something like that. Additionally, those of you that have the supplemental benefits for the dental, vision, and hearing, that will no longer be available to you. So, when you get that extra $1,500 for implants and all that stuff, or the extra $250 for glasses, that's no longer going to be available on this particular plan. The out-of-pocket maximum for that it was $4,200. For 2026, it's going up to $5,000. So you're going to have a bit more of an out-of-pocket maximum than you had before. Okay. Some other changes. You want to make sure you're going to have to make sure when we talk, if you want to have a conversation with me, you're going to want to make sure that you have, you check your pharmacy to make sure that your pharmacy is in the network and that the pharmacy is still preferred. Now, in 2025, you had one chiropractic visit per year, and then you also had a $20 copay for any x-rays. None of that is going to be covered in 2026. It will not be covering any type of chiropractic services. Dental services. These are only dental services that are Medicare covered. So, for instance, if you had an accident and something happened with your teeth that was affecting your health, that would be covered. And the copay for that was $275. Now it's $375. If you're out of town, out of state, the point of service copay for that is going to be $35, where it was $0 before. Also, the maximum that you are going to have for preventive dental services and comprehensive services, it was $1,500 this year. Next year is going to be $950. So as you can see, that's going to be quite a big change. If you're a diabetic, all of your supplies were $0, and they will still be $0 if you use the preferred diabetic supplier. If not, you're going to have to pay a 20% coinsurance for your diabetic supplies. So you're going to want to make sure that you are utilizing diabetic supply, the preferred diabetic supply people. Okay, we talked about dental, we talked about diabetic. And again, for Medicare covered shoes and inserts, it's a 40% coinsurance if it's non-preferred, if it's a non-preferred person. Your emergency care went from $125 to $130. Silver sneakers will not be in this plan any longer. So you will no longer have the silver sneakers. You will no longer have hearing coverage in this plan either. You will no longer have the meal benefit. Like if you were in the hospital and you got out of the hospital, they were giving you free meals. They will no longer be giving you the free meals with this plan either. So you may have to do Medicare Part B drugs are not the ones that you're going to get from a pharmacy. Okay. Those could be like cancer drugs or those really expensive RA drugs. Those could fall under the Part B. And you may have to do what's called step therapy. Step therapy is when you try a medication that's going to be less expensive to see if that will work for you. And then if it won't work for you, you take the next step to be approved for the medication that you're looking at. So that is also going to be available, something that you're going to have to think about for 2026 if you're in the PrimeValue plan. You will have some coverage for non-Medicare covered mental health, mobile mental health. So as long as you're in the BCN Advantage service area, you will have that. Now, what I didn't mention is if you're in Upper Michigan, or, this is, us Michiganders, this is Michigan. If you are here or above, the PrimeValue plan is no longer going to be available for you. So you are going to want to get with me so that we can talk about some other options. Either way, really, just to see what else may fit your needs for 2026. If you are outpatient hospital observation, it was $0 last year, but next year you're going to have a $130 copayment for Medicare covered inpatient hospital outpatient services. So that's something else to consider. Outpatient hospital services, it was $275 last year. Now, this year, if it's non-surgical, it's going to be $150. But if it's a surgical service, it's going to be a copayment of $375. So that's something to keep in mind too. Your outpatient rehabilitation services are also going to have a $35 copay, going up $5 from last year. Okay. No over-the-counter. So your OTC card, you don't have that any longer with this PrimeValue plan. Skilled nursing facility. Days, of course, days 1 to 20 is always $0. But days 21 to 100 is going to be $218 per day. And that's up that's up $4 from last year. Okay. So there was something called SSBCI. And so if you had a chronic condition, you could use those OTC dollars for other things. That is no longer going to be available for you next year. So there will be no SSBCI in this plan next year. There will also be no transportation in this plan next year. There will also be no enhanced vision in this plan next year. And if you're out of the country, your worldwide emergency coverage care, the copay went from $125 to $130, which that's not too bad. So as you can see, medically, there are going to be a lot of changes with this PrimeValue plan. Let's talk a little bit about the drugs. Okay. The drug plan, you didn't have a deductible on this plan before. Next year, you're going to have a $150 deductible. So the first $150 of your care is going to be your responsibility. Also, for your tier 1 drugs, you're still going to have that $5 copay if you go to a standard pharmacy. But if you go to a preferred pharmacy, it's still going to be $0. I forgot I was supposed to put this on. Hopefully you can hear me okay. It's going to be $0 if you go to a preferred pharmacist. Tier 2, It was $20 for a standard pharmacy. Now it's going down to 10 for this year, so that's a little bit better. Preferred last year was 11. Now it's going down to 5. But this is where the big change, this is where the big changes are coming in. And I want to make sure that you are aware of these. And I want to explain what they mean. So if you have a brand name drug, you are used to having just a flat copay. $47 is what it was for a standard pharmacy, $42 for a regular pharmacy. Now, instead of paying a flat fee, you are going to pay a percentage. You are going to pay 20% of the price of the drug. So, for instance, you have a $500 drug that you get every month. That particular drug is going to be, instead of being the $42 at a preferred pharmacy, that particular drug is going to cost you $100 because it's going to be 20% of the 500. Okay. So that's going to be a huge change that you're going to want to make sure that you are aware of and that you budget for. And this is kind of like an industry trend, if you will, for these tier 3, 4, and 5 drugs, where they're moving from a co-payment to a co-insurance. If you need insulin, it's still going to be the $35, which that's good. For a non-preferred drug, you're going from 50% to, you're going from 50% to 30%. So you're going to be paying a little bit less for a non-preferred drug. Okay. And tier 5 is going to be about the same. It was 33%. Those are going to be your specialty tier drugs. It was 33%. Now it's going to go down to 31%. So that's going to be similar in price. It's a little bit better. So with these drug prices and these drug changes, there is the Medicare prescription payment plan. And so what that is instead of paying the pharmacy, you're going to pay your insurer, Blue Cross Blue Shield. You can enter into this plan, and what they'll do is they'll take whatever you pay at the pharmacy and they will divide it by 12. For instance, let's just say that I'm trying to do a round number. Your bill at the pharmacy, let's just say, was $50. Okay. And so instead of paying the $50 at the pharmacy, they will take that $50 and they will divide it by 12 if you start in January. So instead of paying the $50, you're going to pay, what's 50 divided by 12? It's not an even number. Oh, that wasn't a good example. So let's say you had to pay $48 because that's easier. You get a bill for $4 a month. Okay, so that first month you'd owe $4. The next month, if it's still $48, you're going to still owe the $4 from January, from the first month. That goes down to the second month, and then it's another $4. So instead of getting a bill for $4, you'll get a bill for $8. I hope that makes sense. If not, let me know and I'll try to explain it more. But one thing that you need to know about the Medicare prescription payment plan is that it does have a maximum out-of-pocket of $2,100. So when the true out-of-pocket cost, the part that you pay and the part that the insurance company pays, when it reaches that $2,100, then you've reached your maximum out-of-pocket and you no longer have to pay for your prescriptions for the year. So if you have those expensive prescriptions, that is something that may be helpful. So instead of having to pay a big amount of money in the beginning of the year, you can break it down a little bit. That will be helpful for you. What I want you to know is that there are major changes happening to your Blue Cross Blue Shield PrimeValue, Essential, and Myers plan. Because of these changes, you are going to want to get with me so that Blue Cross has introduced a few new plans that will that may work better for you. than the plan that you are currently in. And so contact me so that we can discuss some different changes for you that might work. I look forward to talking to you. You can call me at 313-472-5347. Again, I'm Janine. Or you can, let me see if I can get here. Or you can email me at janine@lifestylesafety.com. I'm trying to get to somewhere so I can put up my information for you. Because this is going to be a lot of changes. This is going to be a lot of changes. And I want to make sure that you have the best plan that you can have for yourself for 2026. I also want to make sure that you realize that you do have this premium that you're going to have to pay. Because if you don't pay the premium, you may eventually get dropped from the plan. And then if we are outside of annual enrollment period and we're outside of open enrollment period, you may not be able to get into another plan. So I want us to be proactive to make sure that we have the plan that you need for you for next year. I look forward to talking to you. I look forward to helping you. I look forward to us getting you the best plan that you can possibly have for 2026. Hope you are doing well, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.